Hello, I'm Bookface, and welcome to another speed drawing. First drawing 2022. Uh, I sound like one of those YouTubers that's like the 3 a.m. Drawing things in the dark, challenge, spooky, cursed, horrible. I don't know. So today's drawing concept is the ultimate form of wrath, because in Ultimate Alien, if you know Ben 10, clarifying Ben 10, uh, Rath did not get an ultimate form. Now, if you're a bit of a Ben Turn nerd like me, you're a bit of a Ben 10 nerd like me, you might be pointing out that Rath actually did get an ultimate form in Omniverse. I thought that form was stupid. Like, it wasn't terrible, but it also didn't feel like an ultimate form. It just felt like one of the concept sketches or something. It was just Wrath but poofier, and also really leaning into the wrestler vibes. So with Ultimate Aliens in Ultimate Alien in Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, that's that version of the show. The general rule that most people have fallen on is color palette change, add a power, take a power, and so that's what I went with this version of Ultimate Wrath. For the color change, you can very much see it. I went with like a purpley blue. Later on, you'll see I add white stripes. Uh, I did this mostly for, well, first off, because I think it looks good, but also because of the I I I'm not sure if it's a cryptid or if it's sciencey, a real thing. The Maltese tiger or blue tiger. At first, I thought it was a cryptid. Then I thought, oh no, that's just like it's like albinism or melanism, but blue instead of white or black. But then I looked it up recently, and it says it's an unproven mutation, which honestly, I don't know if that's just an odd thing that can happen or if that's actually a cryptid. I don't know. I just think the color looks cool. So, as you saw with my references of Hulk and that one My Hero Academia Shie Hasaikai guy who's real big, I really like My Hero Academia. I planned my only real intention for the planning in this actually was make big strong, and yeah, that's basically what I did. Wanted so my idea for a oh yeah, I also, this is a new technique I have. I'll go on to that in a minute. The powers, but basically just straight up drawing lines and using that for detail work instead of trying to like work it all in the shading where I can't really go back or undo. I just draw the simple lines of the very clear details, and then I can blur those out, which I'll do later, and use that as a guideline and also just sort of like pseudo shading. But, anyways, it's like I was saying, the power change with Ultimate Wrath is first off, he's a lot bigger. Like, in my weird monstery version where this is sort of a is technically Ultimate Wrath, but also it's my own monster that's just kind of based on that idea. But the Ultimate Wrath, like if we were to put this in Ben 10, I'd probably say, I don't know, maybe like Humongousaur sized, maybe bigger. In my version, probably building sized, but again, like that's just my own monstery take on everything. So yeah, a lot bigger. The idea being obviously much stronger and also kind of a tank. This takes away a bit of the agility, which is a little bit of the power trade off, but also Uh, it's kind of based on the Hulk thing, and I don't know if this is a straight up rule of the Hulk or just a general thing, but the angrier this version of Wrath gets, the ultimate Wrath, it gets really strong based on that, but it also completely loses control of its mind. So it goes into these blind rages and can like tear up just about anything with very little limit to how strong it can get. But the stronger it gets, the stupider it gets, basically. one of the best bits in Wrath with Wrath, and my mom loves this. This is the reason my mom loves Rath as an alien, is just how he's just constantly screaming and doing and being stupid, basically. And like it is funny, just Wrath being Wrath. So basically, the ultimate would take it to the extreme, and honestly, I don't even know if he'd be coherent. He might just be like Tasmanian Devil, Looney Tunes, just destroying things. Okay, so since we got that done of the lore, I guess. Uh, like I said, I'm doing these little lines, blurring them out and fading them so they're generally an outline. Oh yeah, I forgot about this detail. So I added 3 spikes instead of 2 because addition. But also, instead of just them being like a little, basically a knife, I wanted them to function more like almost knuckle dusters, brass knuckles, whatever they're called. I don't know. But basically, I wanted them to be less stabby and more like a really strong punch you do not want to get hit by. Which, considering this thing's probably the size of a building, I don't know why my voice cracked there. But considering this thing's like foreseeably very large, you wouldn't want to get hit with it anyways. But this is just insult to injury at this point, I think. Um, yeah. So yeah, I'm using a lot of new techniques that I didn't have in some of my older drawings, which I think will improve this one greatly. Oh yeah, do the little little belly, light little belly. Uh, little fun fact that you might catch, might not. It'll vaguely stick to it for a second, but you see that there. That was because I tried to blur it, but I accidentally added it to the head layer instead of its own layer. And I actually make that same mistake with the it's right left to canvas. I make that same mistake, and I realize that later. So the color is on that layer of the arm instead of its own separate layer, which means I can't mess with it separate to the arm. It's just a little behind the scenes thing. Here I'm messing with the mouth, and honestly, the only purpose to like really focusing on the mouth in this drawing is to give it the expression of anger. I also give it these like saber tooth kind of teeth because I think that's cool, but honestly, it doesn't really serve as much of a purpose as I initially thought it would. I think it's a cool detail, but ultimately it doesn't. ultimately, sorry, it doesn't serve much of a design purpose. Oh boy, here's the real fun part: the crazy amount of shading I have to do. Basically, my new strategy, which is working to make my drawings better, is a lot of shading to actually having a little bit of patience. Uh, Here's me realizing, oh crap, I put it on the wrong layer. Oh well. But yeah. Uh, Ultimately, I think I get a little lazy with the shading of in thinking I don't want to do that much shading because if I do, that sets a precedent that's going to make this all really. There's my voice breaking again. It's going to make it really difficult for me. But then I realized, hey, that's stupid lazy, and I want to do good art, so I need to throw it all 100%, make it the best I possibly can, and stop being like, oh, it's too hard, I don't understand, I don't understand anatomy. Because that's basically where I was. I still don't understand overly humanoid anatomy, which is why I mostly draw monsters instead of people. I just blurred out the stripes a little bit so they're not such a stark line. Looks a little more natural, a little fading in. Oh yeah, something I realized after the fact is uh, it unless I like made them slightly transparent, I realized the stripes actually didn't have any shading on them, which kind of it can kind of be a bit of a thing. It makes them a little more like a little like pop a little more, but it also kind of removes them a bit from the drawing and like the shading I worked so hard to put in. Oh yeah, I also decided to put these big elbow spikes kind of based on the wonderfully named alien Kickin' Hulk. Uh, Mostly just because I wanted to add more spikes, and also I felt like I wasn't making it unique enough. Ooh, you just saw the use of one of my favorite tools, which you'll see me use excessively in very stupid ways with the background, the perspective tool. So basically, I wanted to make it like this. It's a very weird way to describe, but whenever I look at designs like Godzilla, big old kaiju, trying to make them look bigger, I always see a triangle like that. And that's because, like, the head is further away, so it looks smaller, but also something structure, anatomy, staying upright. The head has to be smaller if the body's going to be so big. And if it's going to be so. Oh, yeah, that was me messing around with something I have no idea what it was, and I just had to backtrack immediately. But, anyways, like I was saying, so that's why the feet are significantly larger than, like, the head. Oh yeah, here's me doing the shadow, another little detail that I've added in that I think adds an extra layer of realism and makes it seem like, oh yeah, I'm definitely paying attention to light, even though I have no idea where the cast light would be from, or what the light would be. Like, is there is there a sun in the other side of on like the through the fourth wall? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, me just making the space look pretty because I do good at drawing space sometimes. I'm getting to the end of this drawing, me just messing around with brightness and contrast. And I think that is it. And here's the final product. I think it turned out pretty good. I think the scaling worked out pretty well. I probably should have put something in the background to make it seem like there is more visible at scale, but like I said, the if I was putting this in Ben 10 version versus the this is my drawing, I do what I want kind of version, there's a size like a difference there. I guess that's fine. I think it turned out really good, and I'm definitely pretty proud of this one. I think it's a good start to like the drawings I've done this year. I think I improve significantly through every drawing. And while this one isn't as good as, say, some of the later ones I've come up with, which honestly I'm proud of because that means I'm still improving, I do think this is a definite improvement from like the last one and the ones before it. Some things I'd change if I could. I think I could use a little more definition on those arms, like one focusing on like making the muscle groups more defined, but also figuring out the perspective a little better. It's always hard to figure out perspective because it just kind of looks like he's holding up his hands, like hey, even though I was trying to put him in more of an action pose. Posing is definitely something I've been working more on, so they're not just standing in place like some of them are. I think I could have done a little better with like contrasts and stuff, especially with the background, because I realized while doing this I was doing a mostly bluish purple creature and then I ended up doing like a bluish purple sky for the background, and I'm noticing that the grassy terrain as it gets darker, it kind of makes those elbow spikes pretty hard to see. So definitely to do more of that. I think I considered like putting in like a glow or something around him to make his outline very very clear, the silhouette, but ultimately decided against it. Um, ulti- but the rest of it, like the color palette, I like I'm, I, I like this part. I say as I talk about my own drawing, but one thing that I thought was a little clever detail I added was the eyes being orange is sort of a since regular Wrath is orange. And the name I gave this one, other than Ultimate Wrath, is Rage, but because I'm a nerd, so, regular Wrath, the alien, is differentiated from the normal word Wrath because the word has a WR, but the alien just has an R. So, Rage, which normally just has an R, as this monster has a WR. So I flipped the arbitrary letter changes. And it sounds really nerdy and stupid, but to my brain feels clever and ha ha ha. I don't know why I feel like that's such an important detail. I just feel stupid proud of it, kind of. I don't know if proud's the word, but I think it's more impressive than it is. Anyways, uh, like I mentioned in the little voiceover before, I should have considered the fact that the stripes didn't have any shading on them, because definitely at certain parts, like where it breaks into the chest area, you can definitely see how like there's a lot of shading underneath it, but then the lines just kind of lines stripes. I don't know. I lost track of words for a second. The the stripes kind of just go over the shading, which takes it out a little bit, but still, I think this turned out pretty good. I think this is a good start, and I'm excited to show you more drawings I've done. I've done a lot of really good ones, in my opinion, at least, that I'm looking forward to y'all seeing. If you have any ideas of things I could draw, I'm always looking for inspiration. It's a real hard thing to find, honestly. But yeah, if you like this drawing, please leave a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe. If you had any more Ben 10 ideas specifically, I just thought of like I just thought of that being like a thing I could say. Let me know. I love Ben 10. I love drawing Ben 10 things. Like this drawing just it gave me like a sense of nostalgia because I'm doing what I always did as a kid, which is draw a bunch of freaky aliens for Ben 10. Like that's how I got into drawing in the first place. So yeah, it's just a thing that makes me happy. But yeah, with all that done, I don't know. I messed up my outro by going into that little kind of sentimental thing. Uh, I will see you in the next video. Bye.